Good evening, popular astronomers. It's Vicky here on the show that has had more locations than the Antiques Roadshow. So half an hour before we were due to go on air, we've had a massive village-wide power cut. So I have decamped from Studio 1 to Studio 2. I'm in a spare office that is in the area where I live. So thank you very much for allowing me to use your office today. There is a sticker behind me, but well, let's just pretend it's either my halo or it could be some kind of weird looking eclipse there. So how are you this evening? It is very nice to have you along. I think we've got good internet tonight as well. We've got decent Wi-Fi. Wonderful. So this is Pop Astro Live. This is our weekly Friday night show for the Society of Popular Astronomy. So this week, well, every week I say plug the mug. We have an SPA mug, but because we had to whiz over here so quickly, the mug got left behind. And I was very excited to show you what was inside my mug this week, because I've been moving around a bit and I take the mug on tour with me. This week, the mug from the Pop Astro shop had tea bags and garlic in it. What a delicious drink that would have been had I accidentally poured boiling water into it. So I don't have it. I've just got a fancy kind of rose gold bottle instead of a beautiful SPA mug. But if you want your own SPA merch, please go to the popastro.com shop. We have got fantastic t-shirts, a whole new range of them, and all the mugs with all the new slogans on. Please do it. They're great. They're fantastic. Even though I'm not being a great example at the minute and not wearing my Pop Astro t-shirt, which is in the wash, and not using my mug either. So this is your show as well as mine. We've got the facility on this show that you can make comments and it will pop up on the screen. So we're already making lots of friends here in the chat room. So please feel free to contribute, to ask any questions, and just to do general, I'm going to say this word in public for the first time, bants. There you go. I said it. So we've already got 5 comments on the go. Let's have a look. Good to see you. Thank you, Simon. Don't know how to pronounce your surname, so I won't embarrass myself. Simon H, thank you very much. What's your little pictures? Good there, isn't it? Is that a spacesuit you're wearing? Detecting Auguk says hello. Evening, Vicky. Glad you could make it. What? No mug. I know. Only a bottle, but I got a lot of bottle. Helena says, yeah, always look forward to this. My favorite astronomy group chat. I very much look forward to meeting you at one of your physical events sometime soon. I'm actually a hologram. I just peel the letter H off my head for this show, but you won't actually ever get to see me. Madeline Dunn, lady with cat face, says, hi, always look forward to this. Meow. So we have got lots of exciting things happening this evening. We have got Colin Stewart on radiation from the sun, solar flares, coronal mass ejections, and why astronauts need protecting from these dangers. Hence the spacesuit connection, especially on Mars missions. We've also got Stephen Abbs Wisdom, who recreated a stunning moon suit from the 1940s. If you have not seen it, it is cool. I can't really describe how it looks. It looks like something that a superhero might wear to go into a furnace. And then we've got headlining from about 8:40, we've got Dallas Campbell on the evolution of spacesuits. Now, the closest thing I've got to a spacesuit is hiding underneath this. This is my vintage shell suit, and underneath I am wearing my spacesuit. Throughout the evening, I will gradually start removing. There's a clue to what I'm wearing tonight. I will gradually start removing the shell suit, and you'll eventually be able to see my entire spacesuit. We've also got observatory or conservatory. Now, oh my God, guess what happened to me 2 nights ago? I only saw the blooming Milky Way. I have not seen the Milky Way for 2 or 3 months, and I've only seen it twice this summer. I was staying in the Welsh town of Harlech. If you know, that's the famous one with the castle and the second steepest street in the world. You can imagine it's very dark there because it's right out onto Cardigan Bay. And I saw the Milky Way down at the bottom of a friend's garden. Cygnus just dead center. How wonderful is that? So please start telling us what you have seen in the sky this week. Who knows what you might have seen? You might have seen a moonbow over Basingstoke. Or What else might you have seen? A fireball dart through Cassiopeia. Who knows? Good evening, fellow stargazers. Hello, Dave Graham. Good to have you along here. That's the British Interplanetary Society moon suit. It sure is, Jerry, and you're going to be getting to see it shortly. And Paulina, excellent. We love Paulina. I've never seen the Milky Way. Oh, no. Simon, go to the Pop Astro shop. There is a picture, I think, of the Milky Way on a mug, and the slogan on it says, I make my drinks the Milky Way. So if you can't have the Milky Way, at least you can have a big old good milky drink. Helena Murphy, greetings. Oh, the comments are flooding in the sea. An owl landing on my chimney. Do you know what? I've only ever seen a glimpse of one owl in the wild. So that is what type of owl was it, please? I hope it was a tawny owl. Would look good on a chimney, but a barn owl would look amazing on a chimney. If you could have an owl on your chimney, what would you have? So please tell us what you've seen in the sky this week. We are going over to Colin Stewart in a moment. He is coming on any minute now. In fact, coming over to you in 3, 2, 1, Colin. Hey.
Oh, where am I? This way. There we go.
Hey, Colin, you all right there?
Yeah, good. Thanks. How are you?
I'm really good. Couple of grey hairs after power cut just before the main event.
Oh dear.
And having to decamp, but I am good. So whereabouts are you this evening?
Somewhere called Staines, pretty close to Heathrow Airport.
Oh, so light pollution, I bet, is lots of fun there, isn't it?
Oh, we have like a strip of sky at the very zenith where you can see a few stars. Otherwise, it's just motorway, airport. Yeah, not a place for a telescope.
I'm sorry to hear that. So thank you very much for joining us on the SPA spacesuit special. You managed to lever your talk into being based on spacesuits, which I quite appreciate that. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Let's see, we've got a couple of comments here. Oh, hi, Colin. Jerry Stone says hi.
Oh, hi, Jerry. Good to see you.
And did you know? Now, I have been to the letterbox at least 8 times, Colin, looking for my Neptune Opposition Day card from you, but it never arrived. I'll guess it was just late in the post. So what are we going to be talking about tonight, Colin?
So I thought we'd talk about the sun, but we can talk about the radiation and why astronauts need protection from the sun in terms of all sorts of things.
Let me build you up, actually. I need to build you up. I'm sorry, I didn't build you up. I didn't build you up, Buttercup, so I will do it. Colin Stewart is an astronomy speaker and author who has talked to over 500,000 people about the universe, ranging from schools and public to conferences and businesses. His 17 books have sold more than 350,000 copies worldwide and been translated into 21 languages. You've written over 200 popular science articles, and in 2014 you were awarded runner-up in the European Astronomy Journalism Prize, and you're a fellow Astronomical Society, a fellow of the Royal Astronomical Society. That's quite the drum roll for you, Colin. Well done.
Oh, no, thank you.
Thank you very much. So, and then we'll talk a little bit about your book as well. So feel free just to lead us into whatever it is you fancy chatting about this evening.
Yeah, so I thought we'd talk about the sun, mostly because talking about books. My latest book is Rebel Star, which is all about the sun. And what's so exciting at the moment is that we're in this landmark moment where we're really changing the way we're going to understand the sun. We're sending things into space like the Parker Solar Probe, European Space Agency's Solar Orbiter. We're building new solar telescopes on Earth, and we're starting to understand the sun like never before. And the reason that's so important is that it's not some distant thing that we're not connected to. We're affected by the sun all the time. It's throwing good things like light, but bad things like radiation into space. And the threat of something like, I'm afraid it's another corona threat, the threat of a coronal mass ejection, which is the biggest storms the sun can do, would have a similar sort of effect to the stuff we're going through right now. So
this ties in nicely to our spacesuit special that we're doing tonight. If you went into space, there is a reason they have to wear these suits and what reason why they're so heavily protected. What would happen if you weren't wearing a spacesuit?
So the classic thing people think would happen is that you'd somehow explode. It's not quite as bad as that, but it's still bad. There's no pressure. The air pressure there is no air pressure. in space. And so what would happen is that the boiling point of water drops considerably below body temperature. And so your blood starts to boil inside your arteries and veins.
Delicious.
Which is great. And what happens then is you start to expand. You get bigger, but you don't explode because your skin's quite stretchy. So you start to bloat, and then eventually you pass out and die. So no being blown to smithereens, but it's still a pretty grim way to go.
Do you reckon they've ever tested it on pigs out there or something like that?
I guess they're not on pigs. I guess they've inadvertently suffocated animals in space, like Laika, the first dog to orbit the Earth, suffocated, but I don't think that was deliberate.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, what a lovely bedtime image for us all to take. So the Apollo astronauts then, how did they avoid getting hit by a solar storm that was on the way to them?
They were just really lucky. So when you go into the moon, it's a 10-day round trip, 3 days there, a bit of time on the surface, three days back. They were just lucky. Whereas if we're going to Mars, for example, which is more like a 500-day round trip, it's just not something you can avoid. I mean, they just timed it right. There was a huge solar storm in August 1972, which is right in the middle of two Apollo missions, between two Apollo missions. And if they'd been on the surface at the time, moonwalking on the surface, they would have had to come back immediately for a bone marrow transplant. Otherwise, they would have died.
Oh, wow.
So it's a short hop. You can kind of get lucky, but for longer missions, you can't.
What do you think they're going to be doing when they are heading out to Mars then? How will they be protecting themselves?
Well, the trouble is most radiation shields are quite heavy. You think about an X-ray in a hospital, you're behind a lead screen. That's far too heavy. So it's probably going to be water. If you take water and have it in the kind of hull of your ship, then that might offer a radiation shield. But I've even seen the idea of poo. If you're pooing anyway, then if you freeze dry it and you put it into the walls of your ship so it's clean, it's a free radiation shield that you're already going to make anyway en route to Mars.
I could just see the newspaper headlines now for that one. Paul Sutherland, who is of the SPA, is a retired hack, as he likes to call everything. And I think Paul should start coming up with the headlines right now for that.
I guess that the easy headlines is something goes wrong.
Oh, so now one of my favorite missions is Parker, the solar probe. What's Parker up to? How close is Parker to the sun at the minute? Really close?
It's getting there. So when it launched, it broke the record pretty quickly. It was 40 million kilometers from the sun. Now it's in the sort of mid to low teens. Eventually, it's going to get within 6 million kilometers of the sun. Which still sounds far, but if you think about it, if you squeeze the Earth-Sun distance down to a football pitch, and the sun's on one goal line, Parker is going to be inside the 6-yard box at the sun end of the pitch.
Striker, he's going to score.
Yeah, exactly. And the sun's atmosphere extends to 7 million kilometers from the sun, and it's only going to be 6 million. So it's going to be inside the atmosphere of the sun for the first time, and that's why it's so exciting.
Is Solar Orbiter going to get closer?
Not as close, and that's deliberate, because Parker can't have a camera, an optical camera, because it's so close it would blind itself. Whereas Solar Orbiter's a bit further back, so it can have a camera, and then they can work in tandem. And Solar Orbiter is also going to jack itself up a bit so that it can look down on the poles of the sun rather than just in the middle. So they're kind of complementary missions. They're doing different things.
Now, Parker Solar Probe is not going to have a big thermometer on it to measure into the center of the sun, but how do they know how hot the core of the sun is?
Yeah, I get asked this question all the time. We can't stick anything in it. It's because we're pretty confident we know how the sun makes its energy, this process called fusion. And it produces not just light, but these particles called neutrinos. And when they arrive on the Earth, we can measure their number. And it turns out their production is really sensitive to temperature. If you tweak the temperature slightly, the number of neutrinos changes dramatically. So that makes them a perfect thermometer. We know how many are arriving, and so we know temperature is in the middle of the sun.
So I know, obviously, and I can't remember the precise figure, but absolute Kelvin is when the particles stop moving and just stop solid. Is there any upward limit on temperature before they just rip themselves to pieces?
Yeah, so all atoms are bound by electromagnetism, right? So the electrons stick to the atoms in the way that a north and a south magnet stick together. You make it hot enough and they start ripping those electrons away. So actually the majority of the stuff in the sun is not whole atoms at all. It's plasma, right? It's parts of atoms because the temperature goes too high. I mean, it depends on which atom you're talking about as the exact temperature, but most of the sun is completely atom parts rather than whole atoms.
This is why I love doing this show, because not only do you teach me new things, but I refresh stuff that perhaps I might have forgotten over the years. So thank you very much for that. So how else do we protect the poor astronauts up there from all this terrible radiation?
So once you get to Mars, one way you could do it would be to go underground. So if you can have about a meter of rock, then that's a good radiation shield. So you might find that the first missions to Mars, they spend their time in lava tubes. Oh. These kind of hollowed out caves on Mars from Mars's old volcanism. That would give you a good protection.
Just when you thought Mars couldn't get any more bleak, you have to go and live in a tube. So I'm interested to see your beautiful new book. I love the cover. We should all judge books by covers.
Yes. So Rebel Star is the book about the sun. And I also have How to Live in Space, which if we're talking about spacesuits and eating and sleeping and drinking and all that sort of practical stuff in space, there's that too.
Let's hold your books right up to the camera now.
There we go.
There we go. Nice covers. I like the How to Live in Space one. Is really pretty. They're going to look good on
so the How to Live in Space one's kind of more highly illustrated. It's got big kind of nice space pictures and stuff. Let's have a look. Which way around? That way.
Yeah, it goes backwards on this. It's weird. Right. Oh, excellent. Excellent. Now, Colin, I've been digging about you and I found some facts out on the internet about you.
Oh dear.
Probably ones that even you're not familiar with. Let me just grab it here. Did you know this about yourself? That you were actually named after Colin Stewart, asteroid 15347. What were your parents thinking?
If only it was that way around, that'd be amazing. No, this is something that happens sometimes to people involved in space. You know, they have so many asteroids up there that they found that they need names for them. So they either get named after famous people. You know, there's like Freddie Mercury and Elvis Presley and all sorts, or they name them after people who do stuff to do with space. So I think it was more thank you for getting kids excited about space.
I think I've got a new ambition now. One of my ambitions was to lick a piece of Mars, and I did that on a meteorite stand. I will not tell you whose stand it was, but
I have a piece of Mars, but I've never licked it. It's inside plastic.
Yeah, they foolishly gave it me out of plastic, and I did.
What did it taste like?
Mars bar. And now we are going to play. Now, you might not be familiar with this. We're going to play one round only of observatory or conservatory. This is a list that we have compiled. It's either an observatory or a glass house, an international glass house somewhere. So your one tonight is Chamberlain, and that is in Denver, Colorado. Observatory or conservatory?
Ooh, I've never heard of the Chamberlain in Denver, Colorado. It doesn't mean it's not there. I will go for observatory.
I assume that you are a winner. Now I'm second doubting my own list now that you've never heard of it, but allegedly you are a winner and you have won a lick of a piece of Mars.
There's a lot of stuff in Denver, Colorado, I think, so that's kind of why I went for it.
I think it's a place to go to by the sound of it, isn't it? It sounds fantastic there. Have you been?
I haven't, no. They've got a lot of stuff in Boulder as well, isn't that? There's a lot of space stuff in Boulder, Colorado. Oh,
we need to go. Well, happy Neptune Opposition Day to you.
And to you.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, we've made a little blue cake in honor of it. Thank you very much for supporting us here at the SPA. We've got a couple of comments. See if anybody's put any questions. Within the Earth's magnetosphere, which will provide some shielding. There you go.
Yeah. So if you're on the space station, you get a fair amount of shielding. I guess we're talking about going outside.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because somebody's asked, what do they do on the ISSRE radiation? Thank you, Richard.
Yeah, so they're mostly inside the magnetosphere, and if it gets really bad, they go down the Russian end and sleep there because the walls are thicker.
They would be. They would be, wouldn't they? Thank you so much, Colin. Good luck with the book. Paulina also says thank you, Colin. And on behalf of everybody at the SPA, thank you very much.
Awesome. Enjoy the rest of your session.
We will. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye. That was great. Thank you very much. How many geeks know the voice of Parker on Thunderbirds was provided by David Graham? I definitely didn't know that one. Did not know that one. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. So, tell us what you have seen in the sky this week. Please flood us with your comments. You must have done some astronomy this week. I saw Cygnus for the first time in I don't know how long. Beautiful Milky Way arching over in North Wales in Harlech above the castle. I saw it above the castle, the famous castle. Absolutely stunning. So now we are going on to Stephen Abbs Wisdom. Known as Abbs, he is a historian and a model maker, a set designer and an actor. Earlier today, I was reading out Abbs's set of achievements to my friend. We were floored because it's an incredible, it's going to look very good on your national record of achievement. He builds 1930s racing cars, World War I aeroplanes, and in this case, spacesuit replicas for museums and heritage sites. So we are now going to go over to Stephen, who lives in a Norfolk cottage. I don't think he's there tonight. He lives alongside a variety of half-finished building projects and a number of peacocks. Let's see if he has taken the peacocks on the road with him. We're coming through to you now. Hey.
Hello. Hello. Yes. No peacocks with me here, I'm afraid. I put their tea out for them before I left. And the mummy and her little babies will have to go and sup on mealworms tomorrow morning without me.
The little pea chicks, they're so cute with a little Martian antenna.
Absolutely. They were born in my garden. I'd just like to say to your guests, they're not actually my pea chicks. I think I can claim them as mine because they were born under a hedge in my garden. But the peacocks and the peahens, they actually belong to my immediate neighbours, but they just find my garden much more interesting to sort of scratch in. And they just turn up for breakfast and I chat to them quite happily.
One of our good members here is just seeing that he's seen Pluto this week on slew.com, the robotic telescopes. So that's quite an impressive one. Have you seen anything in the sky this week, Abs?
I saw last night when I went to bed, I put a window in the end of my cottage and I could see this kind of orangey blood moon sort of rising above my neighbour's house. And I thought, that's quite cool. But a couple of nights ago, my workshop is in a glorious farm. And I left the farm and I could see Mars very clearly. I think but it's a couple of weeks ago now. And I always like a bit of Mars. I follow Mars Curiosity rover on Facebook and always marvel at those photographs of the Martian surface in Gale Crater.
They are so good, aren't they?
Yeah, I think the best quote I've ever seen was somebody who said, that looks just like you could just stop the truck and let the dog out for a walk. And he lived in Utah and he said it just looked like Utah.
Wow.
Years ago, I worked on the movie John Carter of Mars. And that was all the Martian sequences and that were all filmed in Utah. So clearly the filmmakers also decided that Utah looked like Gale Crater as well. But
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I'm always keeping an eye out for places that look like Mars because I'd like to make a Martian suit and then take that out and do some photo shoots with it. But you don't really find that in Norfolk.
No, which planet would Norfolk be like most?
No, that's a very good point, really. It depends whether it's Norfolk Ray. It would have to be somewhere nice and flat without any major geological features. So, I don't know. Actually, you've got me now.
A nice smooth one. Is Enceladus, that's quite a smooth ice moon, maybe? I don't know whether it's got many topographical features.
Yeah, there's certainly the ice moon part was, I remember I was building a tank for a First World War exhibition and it was -16 in the workshop. And I was walking from my workshop up the farm track to the next piece of the farm to go to the loo, and it was as much as I could do to keep one foot in front of another. It was that bitterly cold. So yeah, somewhere, certainly then it was like that, somewhere nice and cold would have suited it well. So yeah, surface of Pluto, that's quite cool. Quite literally.
Surface of Pluto is one of my favorite places. It's astonishingly jagged and amazing.
Well, the astonishingly jagged bit isn't quite like where my workshop is then. My workshop's more like the surface of Belgium, really.
So I am going to attempt to show your beautiful replica spacesuit that you created. Okay.
Yeah.
We're just going to try and get the screen sharing technology working, which sometimes, you see.
Would you like me to do a little bit of a spiel about it while you're fiddling around with technology?
Well, I have a faff. Let me have a look. Give me 30 seconds.
Okay.
Just to cause some drama. Oh, it's not registering. I just need to think of plan B, how I'm going to show this amazing spacesuit. Yeah, I think I can think of a way around this. It's not coming up. The PowerPoint isn't opening on my StreamYard. So that's oh no, it's here. It's come back. This is quite, this technology is fantastic for streaming. And then it lets us down at the last minute. I can't do it. You start chatting about your beautiful spacesuit while I fiddle. Okay.
So, and maybe people could Google this while they're sitting listening to us. So if you look at the National Space Centre's website, you will see a replica of the British design for a moon suit from 1948. And myself and the curator, Dan Kendall, at the National Space Centre, we wanted to recreate this. The design comes from 1948 into 1949. And with last year being the 50th anniversary of the moon landings, the museum wanted to show that the British were looking to the moon in a much earlier age. So just after the Second World War, the British were interested in making a moon suit and a moonshot to actually go to the moon. And here we have their web page, and if you scroll through, there we have it. You can see the replica of the moon suit that I made. Now, when you're looking at that there, you can see it's got a silver helmet on it, it's got oxygen hoses, and you can see a few details on it, like that large circular formation on the chest. Well, that, believe it or not, is an airlock for putting samples through. And we're very lucky in that we have the original drawing done by Smith and Ross, who were the two designers from the British Interplanetary Society way back in the late 1940s. And what Smith and Ross decided to do, as you can see there with that little cutaway drawing, what they wanted to do was come across with a suit design that could be put on. It was rubber, it was cloth, it was canvas, it was leather. It was going to be inflated, much like an Apollo suit that Dallas will be talking about a bit later. But as you can see there, it has an airlock in the chest. And the idea would be that an astronaut or a British lunar astronaut walking around on the surface could find a rock. He could look at it down that long frontage, down the helmet. He could examine it. And then if he wanted to examine it closer, he could reach to his overextended chest, this big pigeon chest that the suit has. He could open the airlock, put the rock inside the airlock, close the airlock from the outside, and then withdraw his arms inside the suit, and then use his arms in front of him, open the airlock in the chest, take out that piece of rock, baked as it was by lunar radiation, and then look down that long frontage of the helmet and give it a better examination in a kind of chest-based laboratory built within the suit. And I am not joking. So we tried to reflect all of this in the design. Now, the problem was that Smith and Ross never made the suit. What they did was they drew it, and they drew several different versions of it from the outside and the inside. So Dan, the curator at the museum, who's got science training, and myself with my history training and my kind of art background, we decided we were going to look at the materials that would have been available. So knitting, leather, cloth, and we used a lot of technology that would have been available at the time. And luckily, I'm a deep sea diver with those big bronze helmets that go underwater, which I do for fun. So we used a lot of diving technology. We've brought all these forms and disciplines together, and what we came out with is in a big display case at the museum for all to see on permanent display.
And where is that amazing beast? It's the shiny helmet that does it, isn't it? It's just fantastic.
Yeah. No, that's in the National Space Centre at Leicester. And interestingly, the helmet, it's one of the first uses of a material I use all the time, which is called fiberglass, which a lot of kit cars are made of, and a lot of boats and things like that. So we looked into when fiberglass was first invented, and it's first being used to build fiberglass boats just before the Second World War. The Americans are using it to build bits of fighter planes during the Second World War. So we decided we were going to make the helmet out of fiberglass, and then we took it along and we vacuum plated it with a particular sort of form of like a deposition of aluminium. It's all quite clever, but it's how they make mirrors for telescopes, actually, amongst other ways. And that was done by the only people in Britain who did it. And funnily enough, when I took the helmet along, they looked at it and said, "Is this a space helmet?" I said, "It is." And I told them a history of the design, and they said, "Oh, we've been here since 1938. Undoubtedly, they would have brought it to us originally to really go to the moon. So it was really nice to be able to take the item along, albeit 50 years too late.
Now, I did notice that the spacesuit had a superhero element to it. It's got a cape. Why is that?
Okay, so Smith and Ross were not stupid. Arthur C. Clarke, who wrote 2001, he was one of their communications advisors, was a young man. They understood that when you're on the surface of the moon, you're going to be baked in solar radiation. The moon, I think, has the greatest thermal range of anybody within our solar system. So they knew you could go from shadow and be in minus 130 degrees Celsius, I think, into sunlight, and then you would have this immediate temperature change. So the cape was made of silver lame, like you see, you know, dresses being made of on the Oscars carpets and things like that. And the astronaut, if he was getting too hot, could pull the silvered cape around him and reflect solar radiation away. But if he was in shadow and getting too cool, he could pull the cape back and expose that black chest on the suit. And of course, the black absorbed solar radiation. So it was a very simple way of controlling the heat within the suit. So once again, Smith and Ross had a really good idea of thermal control, except what we discovered when we finally made the suit was that because of those super deep arms that you need to withdraw your arms inside the suit, because of that, you couldn't actually lift your arms up to open the cape and close the cape. So you had very limited movement. And that's what we always say. This is like the Mark I moon suit. There's no way that suit would have gone to the moon. That suit would have very much been a trial basis. And I've proposed something that looks a little bit more like an Apollo suit with some of those designs elements. But of course, it was never taken any further. So no one really knows.
So what other inventions were the British thinking of taking to the moon then, other than this incredible suit?
Well, they were using German V2 rocket technology. They'd seen Wernher von Braun's liquid rocket engines during the Second World War with the V2 and the V3 rockets that were being developed by the Germans. So once they've captured all of this rocket technology, of course, rocket technology that Wernher von Braun was more than happy to give to the Americans in the Apollo and projects. When they'd seen that, they were going to exchange their earlier designs of making a steam-powered lander. You heard me correctly, a lander that would land on the surface of the moon using steam jets, because of course in a vacuum, I think it's Newton's second law, it's going to work just as well as any other form of propulsion on the surface of the moon. So when they were going to land on the surface of the moon, they were going to have a tent erected over the spacecraft made of silvered material to protect it from solar radiation above the lander. They were going to take packs of cards with them so they could entertain themselves while they spent up to 20 days on the surface of the moon. And they were also going to take sandwiches to the moon because they needed something that wouldn't float around in space. So they were going to take bread and they were going to put nuts and celery and energy providing foods. And they actually went to the trouble of making a sort of several recipes of sandwiches you could take to the moon. Coffee, but only for the navigator to keep his eyes open in the interminable slide rule calculations. That's actually a quote from their document, because of course they don't have computers, so they'd have to work it all out on slide rules, which of course those incredibly complicated sort of sliding rulers, the way you can do quite complicated calculations. You see them being used in the movie Apollo 13 to check calculations by the guys at ground control. And they were even considering taking pipes, as in smoking pipes, to give the crew a little bit of downtime so they could have a little smoke on the surface of the moon.
That is sandwiches and pipes, just what I would want on any space mission.
Particularly one, of course, with a pure oxygen atmosphere. So you light your pipe, and that's going to be fun, isn't it?
Now, the most important thing about this incredible spacesuit that you made the replica of, would it have worked? I'm going to say no.
You're absolutely right. And we come back again to what I just said about the Mark 1 up to the Mark 8. They would have very quickly realized, just like Apollo did. I mean, the Dallas's suit that he'll be talking about maybe later on, perfect replica of the Apollo suit. And you will see elements of that, in the real thing. And obviously they developed so many ideas to get to the suit that Armstrong and Aldrin were wearing when they walked on the lunar surface. These guys didn't understand a few critical things, and those critical things are radiation protection. They didn't understand also about radiation protection from the Van Allen belt, because I think Van Allen comes up with the idea of the Van Allen belt in it's something like 1958. Please correct me if I'm wrong out there, folks. But certainly it's not known. The Van Allen belt is not known about. So our guys would have taken off, flown straight through perhaps a heavy area of radiation and instantly irradiated themselves. There's a lot of problems with thermal protection with this suit. And there's a lot of problems that they would have had to do with radiation. A lot of problems just to do with general mobility. But as I keep saying, what you're looking at there is the Mark 1. I think they would have had a Mark 8 or 9 or 10 or 15, and they would have learned every time they developed something new. And in that respect, they're very much like the Apollo mission.
Abs, you have been a really exciting guest, but I've been digging on the internet and found out a fact about you. Do you mind if I reveal it? It's not very commonly known.
Go on then.
Also, thank you very much for pulling over in your car. I just realised that you're not in a house; you are actually in your car en route.
Yeah, I'm a Medway Services fan, so I'm pulled up with a load of lorry drivers around me, kind of watching me, and think, what's that guy doing?
Now, your full name is Stephen Wisdom, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we all know Wisdom toothbrushes, yes?
Yeah.
Wisdom toothbrushes. Well, you're actually heir to Wisdom toothbrushes, although you betrayed your family by falling in love with Lady Aquafresh III.
How's this leaked out? The blooming paparazzi will be here now. They really will. No peacock is safe. Yes, it's all true. Absolutely. I am indeed the heir to the Aquafresh empire. But who knew? Who knew? I thought I'd kept that one quiet.
And I'm sure you've got lovely teeth. And we'll just have a final round of observatory or conservatory with you. What do you reckon this is? Is it an observatory or a great glass house? Lincoln Park in Chicago.
I am going to say this is a glass house.
I'm going to check myself now. I might have got my list muddled up. Lincoln Park. What was it I said? Lincoln Park. Where is it?
Chicago.
Chicago. That sounds like they do have space stuff there, don't they? Chicago. It looks like a glass house.
You see, I immediately knew. Do you know? And also has the world's finest collection of toothbrushes, which no one knew. And that's how I knew. You see, everything is connected.
Get in
Brilliant.
there, get in there. It's been a pleasure. Carry on with your journey nice and safe now, and I hope you see amazing things in the sky tonight somehow, if you can see through clouds.
Lovely talking to you, Vicky, and lovely talking to all your guests. As I dropped my phone. Lovely talking to you. Bye-bye, folks.
Bye. Bye. Great stuff. That's lovely. We've got Dallas Campbell coming on in a minute. I'm going to do a quick book review. Let's see the comments that we've got there. Thank you very much, everybody, for your comments. Right, okay, a little quick book review now. This is lovely. It's Discover the Night Sky Through Binoculars, a systematic guide to binocular astronomy, written by the wonderful Stephen Tonkin, whose articles you will have probably read in Sky at Night magazine and what have you. I met Steve at Solar Sphere a couple of years ago, and it was just wonderful to be guided around the night sky. You see, I really struggle winking for telescopes. My eye kind of only closes halfway. And so using binoculars to look at the sky, you know, two eyes have got to be better than one. So it's a little black and white book. He shows you how to get the hang of scanning the sky with binoculars. Also, mine's signed, bumps the value up considerably. Where is it? I think it's page 23. We've got little notes here on how to scan with binoculars. There. That's really, really handy. I didn't know a lot of that. And then we have a very, very detailed month-by-month guide of the night sky. I think this is quite a technical book. You've got to, I mean, I can't even follow directions to get down to the local shop, so hopping around stars is difficult for me. But if you are that way inclined, Steve Tonkin's book, Discover the Night Sky Through Binoculars, and a lovely pair of binoculars and a good mount to steady yourself because you're so excited because you're seeing so many amazing things in the sky. The last thing you want, oh my gosh, I can see Neptune. It's exciting. You definitely need a stabilizing mount, and Steve will show you how to do it. So, Dallas, we're coming to you. I can see he's just away from his laptop. Okay, we're coming to you in 3, 2, 1. Hi, Dallas.
Hi there. I just suddenly remembered something I had to bring to the party.
Hey, do you know what I've just remembered? Me and you have got the same studio set up because I copied yours. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But to be honest, I like yours, but I think the silver one's nicer. And the reason I got a kind of an all black one.
Yeah.
What are they called? Yes, blues, and only because they didn't have a silver one, and because they were sold out. It was right when everyone suddenly realized they had to be on Zoom a lot, and suddenly there was a global shortage of USB microphones.
And you also advised me on which big, massive, bright light to get.
Yes, look at that.
Yeah, how good's that? Have you got the same one?
Hang on. Oh, Christ, I've got so many blooming things. Yes, I do. There you go.
Hey, look at that. So we
have
look and sound the same.
We're looking exactly the same. We are basically the same. I mean, you know, looking at us both, that you couldn't tell the difference.
Oh, I forgot. Right. Okay. Now it's a spacesuit special, and I'm famous for revealing my garb on these shows. Hang on, just let me readjust my spacesuit. I thought we're echoing a little bit there, my dear.
Who, me?
Yeah, I think one of us is.
Oh dear. You sound okay to me.
I can hear myself feeding back. Hopefully it's okay. I have tried to put on the best spacesuit I possibly could. So not only have I got a shell suit on, but hang on.
Nice.
Matching. This is my spacesuit.
It's good. I like the shell suit's got quite a sort of early 90s David Icke feel to it.
David Icke, yeah, lovely, thanks. But
I mean, only shell suit, nothing else.
I wouldn't be seen out in public wearing all of this together, but just for the spacesuit special tonight, I have dressed up like a lunatic just for you.
Oh, it's good actually. It's a bit like I've got. Actually, let me get it down. Hang on one sec. I've got a poster here. I've got a poster. Actually, we could do a sort of quiz. It's a spacesuit poster which I've had for ages, and it's you got to guess: is it real or is it fictional? And you've got this one here. This is Jane Fonda and Barbarella, which I feel that you're kind of channeling with your spacesuits.
Kind of, yeah.
We can refer to this later.
We'll have a look at that. So whereabouts are you this evening, Dallas?
I'm in my sitting room, which
very
is
good
in London. Yeah.
Very good, very good. Now,
actually, I should say this just behind me. Hang on, where am I going? Yeah, there. That mannequin is meant to have a spacesuit on because I've got a spacesuit, but sadly it's in a big cardboard box because I've got to ship it over to Spain. So it's all packed away. So I'm sorry.
Okay. What do you say? You're moving to Spain?
No. My spacesuit's got to go to Spain.
Oh,
It's
okay.
starring in a movie. So there you go.
Very nice.
So it's
Very
all
nice.
packed away. So I'm sorry.
I hope it's in equity.
Hi, Dallas. Remember Schiaparelli? What? I don't. What in what context does that mean?
And Stephen Sargent says, folks, Dallas might be a bit shy to say this, but you should get his book, Ad Astra.
Oh, hi, Stephen. Yeah, look, I got it to hand. Although I think actually, funny, I think it's sold out. I think the hardback's sold out now. I think you can you can get it on Audible. You can have me read it to you in bed.
Really?
I struggle with some of the Russian names in it, but I did the Audible version as well, so you can get that. I think, and the Kindle versions as well, and you can probably still. I don't know. Anyway, Amazon was sold out the other day. I know.
As it happens, I've got 2 Audible credits.
There you go. I have a whole chapter on spacesuits. So there you go.
I might just splash out on you. Okay, then. So thank you so much for coming on. So what do you think of well, I think they're awesome, the new SpaceX spacesuits then.
Do you? I'm sort of really struggling with them a little bit. I think because I'm quite old school. I like spacesuits to look all kind of military with bits of hoses and ports and, and I don't know, they just all look too clean and nicely designed. I don't know. Can I share my screen here? How do I do that?
Oh, let's have a quick look. You might be able to. Right, go down to the bottom and it says, where does it say share screen?
I can application window. Here we go. Share. I'm going to share.
There we go. I think this might work now.
Can you see that?
What application? Oh, there you go.
Does that work?
I think you might have to do full screen with your presentation.
Can you see that picture?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, try going full screen with your presentation.
It is full screen.
Okay, we can see it. It's good enough. It'll do.
Well, I can't see. Anyway, these are the suits. These are the new SpaceX suits. I quite like them. I'm going to stop full screen because I think it's not very good, and I can't see what I'm doing.
Okay.
They're okay. The interesting thing was that Elon Musk actually got rather than going to the normal spacesuit makers, so people like ILC Dover and BF Goodrich and the normal people who make spacesuits, he went to a movie props maker, Jose Fernandez, who did all the movies for sort of Batman and stuff. And actually Elon Musk's premise was like, spacesuits have to look badass, is what he was saying. Yes, they have to be functional, but there is something really important about space suits looking really, really good. And if you think about, the original American Project Mercury suits, those silver spacesuits that are so famous, originally that was a Navy Mark IV pressure suit, and it was green. And someone had the bright idea to say, well, actually, we got this new breed of explorers called astronauts. And we need them to look exciting and good, and we need them to look dashing, and we need them to look Buck Rogers. So they painted them silver, and that's the reason. So there you go. So there's a great tradition of making spacesuits look cool. It's as well as obviously them having to be functional, they have to look cool as well.
I suppose they are going to be one of the most photographed garments on and off the planet eventually, aren't they?
Well, they are, and so fast. I really want to show. I'm going to try and share my screen again because I got some lovely pictures which I want to show you. So, can you still hear me? Because it seems to kind of go off the sound.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to try and see that. So, can you see? Tell me what you're seeing on the screen.
Yeah, I've set it now. So the two double. We've basically got your computer screen. So just have the faith that people can see it.
Okay, so here we've got. So this is the new SpaceX spacesuits, and you can see this. So this is Doug Hurley and Bob Behnken who did the demonstration mission here, and you can see just how tailored these spacesuits are. They were designed by a movie props maker, and you can see the kind of gray paneling and stuff. It looks almost like they're wearing a tuxedo, and that's not by chance. And after that suit was designed by Jose Fernandez, they then had to sort of re-engineer it, to reverse engineer it in order to make it sort of practical. But you can see on it there's no hoses for oxygen. There's actually one in the leg. You can see Doug Hurley there. There's a pipe coming off his leg, and that's the sort of only port that connects to the side of the ship. But this is what the kind of classic iconic. This is the Project Mercury, the original Mercury 7 silver spacesuits. And, that was a public relations exercise, spray painting them silver. I mean, they said, oh, there are thermal properties why they need to be silver. But actually it was the kind of Buck Rogers-ness of it. They wanted the astronauts to look cool, to look heroic. And actually, this is a photograph that I took. I was at the Smithsonian Museum the other year. I was working on a film about the history of the spacesuit. And that's Gordon Cooper's Mercury suit there. And just below it, you can see that green suit. That is actually the same suit. That's what it originally looked like.
Oh, I've just realized your slides aren't changing. We've got the same one.
Really? Oh, yeah. Man. I'm going through all my slides. I've got some great slides. So I don't know how to do that.
Oh, there we go. We've got that one now. Yeah.
Which one have you got?
We've got the one that you've got highlighted, the correct one. There you go. That's changed now. The men. There we go. Now we're cooking.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh, no. I don't know. Oh, someone should invent a streaming service that just works.
Yes.
It kind of does it all. So maybe if I...
That's good. We've got that now.
Okay. So there you go. So where was I talking about? Maybe I won't do slides because it's obviously too much of a pain in the backside. But I just wanted to say, yes. So classic silver Mercury suit.
Cool.
Designed to look like Buck Rogers.
Yeah.
And the original one is the bottom one, that green one. That's a Navy Mark IV pressure suit, of which the Project Mercury suits were based and spray painted silver to look cool. Actually, if you look in that photo just behind, you can see the Starship Enterprise.
Ooh.
That's the original Starship Enterprise. They were doing some work in it in the Smithsonian when we were over. But actually, the point I was trying to make is that, that particular silver suit, the Project Mercury suit, didn't just protect astronauts. It became this great fashion icon.
Is that Paul McCartney?
So that's Paul McCartney and Gene Shrimpton. This was a Harper's Bazaar 1960 something, 63, I think it was, this particular one. Richard Avedon, the photographer, did it. And sort of you've got these kind of this idea of the sort of spacesuits suddenly becoming part of high fashion. And so spacesuits have always been, as well as looking after astronauts, they have become this great iconic symbol of humans in space. So kind of looking good is really important. Actually, my favorite story about the Mercury 7, so this picture here of the Mercury 7 this was for Time magazine, very famous photograph. But if you look at Deke Slayton and John Glenn, who are standing in the front, and if you look at their boots, you can see their boots are slightly different. And the story is that they'd forgotten to take their actual boots with them for this photo. So they got a pair of black work boots and just sort of spray painted them silver. So there you go.
I love that in-depth knowledge you've got there. Excellent.
Useless knowledge, but there you go. Yeah.
So how have spacesuits evolved over time? Because there's so many different types there.
Yeah. Oh, I see how this is working. I'm looking at your screen. Why isn't it working when I do... Hang on, I'm going to just hit play.
Because it's mysterious and I don't know why.
Why? Honestly, someone should design these better. Anyway, there you go. So how's it well, over time, I mean, gosh, you can go all the way back to the days of early aviation. This was Fred Sample. This is 1918. This is a kind of an early example of a patent for a pressure suit. I mean, obviously not a spacesuit because it's 1918, but the principles are really exactly the same. In fact, I'm going to show you. I'm going to come back to the screen. I found that this is a magazine I found in a junk shop, Popular Mechanics. This is 1934. Okay, this particular edition of Popular Mechanics, and inside, lo and behold, there is an article. I'll hold it up to the camera. This is an article by Wiley Post. I don't know. Do you know who Wiley Post is?
Is he related to Wile E. Coyote?
He's not. He should be related to Wile E. Coyote, but he's not. Actually, Wiley Post was an early aviator in the sort of genre of Amelia Earhart and Lindbergh and Amy Johnson, etc. But Wiley Post realized back in 1934, which is just round about when they discovered the jet stream, that if he could fly high enough into the jet stream, he could break all kinds of aviation records. But he realized, then that sort of altitude, the air, of course, would be rarefied. It wouldn't be able to support human life. So he had to thought, okay, well, I need to kind of create some kind of suit that I can wear that I can inflate, like some kind of pressure suit. And this article in this particular issue of 1934 is him going through the design process of the suit that he made. And And it's a really, really interesting, because it obviously, spacesuits have come a long way since 1934, but the principle is exactly the same, to create this kind of bubble of pressure with you, and be able to take. So that's all a spacesuit is. A spacesuit is a kind of wearable spacecraft, a pressure vessel that holds pressure. Anyway, so his original spacesuit, I'm going to go to my share screen again because I got some great pictures of it, which you'll like. This is from the Smithsonian again. It's a crazy looking suit. So can you see that?
Oh yes,
Hello?
that's familiar. That is, it haunts my dreams.
Yeah, it haunts my dreams. So this is the original. This is the Wiley Post original spacesuit, and you can see it's basically just a kind of rubber suit with leather boots and a metal helmet, and you fill it with air, and up you go. And that gentleman squatting down was a gentleman called Russell Coley, who was the man responsible for designing that suit. Russell Coley worked for the B.F. Goodrich Company, and this is kind of what this is. These are my photographs. I went to photograph the suit the other day, and it's really basic. So you've got a set of woolen long johns. And then what is really just a kind of a wearable bicycle inner tube. And, you've got some leather boots and a canvas suit that kind of goes over the top. And that's it. And you've got this crazy helmet, which you fill with air. And that is kind of regarded as spacesuit number one. That's really the very, very first spacesuit, the grandfather of all spacesuits, really.
The grandfather of spacesuits and fetish wear.
And fetish wear. Yeah, it's got, there's definitely a bit of kink involved, but yeah, that's basically. And then of course from there we move on to things like this is spacesuits get more and more advanced. In fact, that one looks very familiar, of course, because this particular spacesuit, this is from the early 1960s, and you can see how the design has changed. If you look, those kind of ridges that you see in the arms and the legs are called convolutes, and of course if you pressurize something, not only does it get bigger, not only does it inflate, but it also becomes stiffer and stiffer and stiffer. So a bit like a drinking straw, you've got the bendy bit in a drinking straw. This was the great design trade-off, being able to inflate, but also be able to keep things mobile. So you can see those convolutes there, which went on to, there you go.
Sarah Jones said he looks a bit like a tardigrade in that convoluted suit.
Yeah, which there you go. So that one went on to kind of influence sort of Tintin. But yeah, so spacesuit, it's designed a lot. I mean, it's changed. The designs have changed a lot, but the principles pretty much have remained exactly the same.
So I was saying to my friend earlier, it's about spacesuits and I don't know anything about them. Are they even that interesting? And I have been completely proven wrong.
Yeah, well, also actually the Apollo suits as well. I'm really sorry I haven't got my Apollo suit up. They were the most technically challenging suits ever designed. No one had a clue about what kind of suits what are we going to wear to walk on the moon? And of course, you had this at the time, this great explosion in new technology and new materials and plastics and nylon and neoprene and Dacron and all these exotic materials that went into making these suits. But they're the most extraordinary items. And they were made by a company called ILC Dover, which were based in Delaware. And they got all the women who worked on and ILC Dover is part of Playtex, who make bras and girdles. It was that company that made them. So all the women who made bras and girdles and worked in the garment districts in Delaware were brought online to make these spacesuits. And there's some wonderful footage of all the women who are so skilled at sewing, making these suits for the Apollo astronauts. And it's an amazing story. It's a sort of forgotten story. When we think of Apollo engineering, we tend to think of rocket motors and Saturn V's and lunar landers and that kind of thing. But the spacesuit itself is the most beautiful garment. There's a couple of books if people are interested. How do you make the suits bulletproof? You kind of don't. Well, actually, the beta cloth, which is the white stuff that goes over the spacesuit, is very, very hard. And there's another material. If you imagine the Apollo suit, it's got kind of gray patches on the gloves, gray patches over the overboots. That's a material called Chrome LR, which is a titanium weave, very, very thin titanium woven into a fabric, which is incredibly tough. The problem with bulletproof is that you've got the velocity of a bullet, so it's still gonna, you don't want to be out when a bit of micrometeorite hits you. Bras are well upholstered, yeah. And the reason why exactly. I trust a bra maker as well. And the reason why they would choose bra makers is because bras by their nature, are lots of different materials. You've got wire, you've got, neoprene, maybe padding, you've got metal, you've got brass, you've got plastic, all these materials together. So bra makers are and you can move around in them. In fact, I might, hang on, don't move. I've got a good picture.
Don't forget the lacy bits to put on it as well.
And the lacy bit. Well, exactly. Hang on. Short spacesuit. Let me see if I've got a picture of some bra makers. I've got lots of pictures of bra makers in action. Here we go. Yeah, I like this picture. So there you go. That's the sort of classic, that's the sort of Playtex advert from the 1960s. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can't hear you. You can see it. Yeah.
Yes.
And so the Apollo suits particularly really come from Playtex. So that's where the kind of origins of it all come from. This is the kind of this picture here is the very first prototypes of the Apollo spacesuits. So you can get a sense of what they look like underneath the kind of white. So you get a sense of how they work. So the white of the A7L Apollo spacesuit that's the beta cloth. It's a sort of glass fiber silica cloth designed to be very, very hard wearing. In fact, I've got a picture here. You can see these are all the different kind of materials that go into it. 21 layers in all go into the Apollo spacesuit. Teflon, Dacron, neoprene, nylon, Nomex, Kapton. This was all these new materials that were coming online in the 1960s. And there's a nice sort of cutaway you can kind of see of the Apollo suit, how it works. They're beautiful objects, beautiful, amazing things.
I definitely think you need to befriend Mr. Ab's wisdom there and his incredible 1948 British Interplanetary Society moon suit.
Well, I know that suit very well. I mean, R.A. Smith and, our fantasies about going to the moon, long before we built spacesuits, we imagined what a moon suit would look like. Or, there's, I'll go back to my share screen again. For example, I mean, and these, I've got a couple of examples of suits that were actually built and designed. So this one here, this was this is a Republic Aviation moon suit that was designed and tested. And of course, it looks ridiculous because it is ridiculous, but we had all kinds of fantasies about what moon suits would look like. Here's another, this is the Alan Hansard moon suit that was designed.
I think you just might need to hit your share screen button.
Really?
Really?
How do I get back? Oh, I don't know. I honestly, I give up with share screen. I spend my life having bloody meetings and saying, well, how do we show? Oh, no, it'll be fine to share screen. You just do that. And it never, ever works.
No, I apologize.
I've got nice pictures to show you. Anyway, there you go. A couple of really good books. This is the book you want to read. US Space Gear. That's a very good one.
Yeah.
Smithsonian publication. This is the best book on Apollo spacesuits, I think. And it sort of touches a lot on the sort of fashion stuff and the links between the fashion industry and Apollo and the 1960s and how our imagination and how fashion and how technology all blended together to create the most kind of iconic item of clothing ever made. I think maybe that and Elvis's white jumpsuit, perhaps the most iconic.
And my shell suit.
And your shell suit, maybe.
This gets around a lot. So, Dallas,
this is a nice one as well. Just very, very quickly. This is another Smithsonian one, and it's got lots of lovely pictures in.
We're liking these
lots
books.
Of close-ups and lots of kind of X-rays of bits of spacesuit. If you're interested in spacesuit design and technology, this is a kind of good place to start, I reckon.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Or you can just come and sit in my house and watch my PowerPoint presentation on the history of the spacesuit. And I've got some amazing video as well, which I could play you.
I've never tried to share video on this thing before.
Really? Should we try? Should we do an experiment right now?
If you like doing live spacesuit video experiments, let's try. Oh, go on. What's it on? Is it on YouTube?
Is it on YouTube?
The video. You can share YouTube. Oh, go on, try. Fire away.
I don't. Is that your phone ringing?
It's not mine.
Can you see my share screen?
Oh, there it is.
Can you see any? Can you see? Can you hear me?
I can
see. I can't even hear you.
Yeah, it's acting up, love. It's acting up. It's acting up. But just having you on was enough, and all those amazing spacesuits was brilliant. I did not know that there was so much variety and so much tech in them. Honestly, I did not know a thing about spacesuits.
Well, Yeah, it's the tech, but it's also the kind of cultural stuff as well. It's it's not just in isolation. We're going to send people into space. I mean, when we make movies, we design spacesuits. When we write books, we design spacesuits. So it's a big part of being human.
Okay, so thank you so much. Now, I've been digging on the internet and found out some facts about you. I hope it's okay if you don't mind me revealing these kind of things about you. Is that all right? You might not even know this one about yourself. So, Dallas fact: Dallas auditioned for Doctor Who in 2081, but the TARDIS broke down when he took it for a test drive and he got stuck here in 2020. Every night he cries for his future family. How is that?
That is true, actually. That's on my Wikipedia page.
That's where I got it from. And I actually
normally Wikipedia is not very reliable, but in this case, it's very reliable.
Did you wear a spacesuit in the TARDIS? Is the main question. You would make a fab Doctor Who, by the way.
I'd like to be. I did Doctor Who the other day. Actually, I did the Doctor Who 50th anniversary, so a couple of years ago at the XL. I'll tell you what I did the other day. I did Red Dwarf the other day. That was fun.
What did you do on Red Dwarf? We all love Red Dwarf.
Yeah, well, we did. It was a kind of Red Dwarf. The first 3 million years, they did a series of Red Dwarf. And
I saw those. Were you on it?
Yeah, we did. I did a documentary.
Well, did you do the whole thing? I've watched it. I was too busy paying attention to Danny John Jules, the cat.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair enough. I once played an alien with Danny John Jules in an episode of MI High.
He's cool. He's cool, man. Cool. So, Dallas, thank you very much. This is what the Society for Popular Astronomy is all about. It's all about educating you, no matter what level you are in the world of astronomy and being a space fan. There is always lots more to learn and so many different avenues to explore. So whether you are a novice and only just joining us, whether you are yet to join the SPA, which is excellent value at £23 per year, or whether you're an advanced member who already knows all this kind of stuff, we are here for you every Friday with this kind of stuff. It's great.
Good. Well, thank you very much for having me. And what a brilliant... This is the universe's only live astronomy show.
Not allowed to say that.
Why not?
Because it's not, and I put that on Facebook, and we were inundated today. And
who else is doing it?
Pete Williamson and
it's the only one where you wear a cool shell suit, a David Icke style shell suit.
There we go. It's the only So there we go. Thank you. So I am fully aware that I am not the only chat show now. You see, Dallas, what I've always thought is that there should be something kind of a bit more casual than the Sky at Night, which I adore.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I'm sure. Well, we've done. I mean, Stargazing Live's pretty cash.
Oh, it's great, isn't it? Bring it back. Bring it back.
Yeah, I don't know. Are we doing more Stargazing? I have no idea. It sort of comes and goes. We were actually, annoyingly, the last thing in my diary yesterday, we were meant to be doing Sky at Night Live. Last year, I presented Sky at Night Live as part of the British Science Festival. We were going to do another one this year, and that was lovely. That was super cash. Me and Chris and Maggie and special guests sitting around, kind of doing what you're doing, but not as well as you're doing it. I've got to say. Let's be honest. But we had a go, and so sadly that's been cancelled. But no, so you're providing an excellent service.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, and I love doing it. It's a highlight of my week, Dallas. Thank you so much, and I'm going to press the off button now.
Oh, really? Okay, I could just sit and chat. I've got so much to talk about.
Go on, stay with that then, because it's not like I've got a producer in my ear going, "Now we're cutting to the 9 o'clock news in 3, 2, 1, talk."
Have you not got? Who's your other? Have you not got other guests?
No, you're the last one. You were the headline act. This is your encore.
What time does your show finish?
It doesn't have an end time. It's just I have an arbitrary end time of an hour.
Okay. I honestly, unless you got some other interesting facts or things to
talk to us more about your take. Oh, hang on. Stephen Sargent is saying Sky at Night has an awesome program planned for Monday coming. They changed the slot because of the blockbuster result. What would that be?
What's the blockbuster result, Stephen? It's not the Sky at Night Live because that's been cancelled. But they changed the blockbuster result, as in Blockbuster the game show, as in given.
I don't think Sky at Night means blockbuster would be brilliant.
Let's type something quickly. Qualify this sentence that we don't understand. Best Sky at Night with a lockdown shows.
They were lovely, weren't they? Because I like to see what was on Chris Lintott's bookshelf.
Yes. You can have a look at my bookshelf if you want.
Yeah, go on. What have we got there?
Hang on.
Is his room tidy? It looks clean and tidy and neat.
Can you see?
Yeah. Oh, Stephen is saying that he can't say what's on Sky at night. Something big's
Why?
coming.
Why can't you say? Oh, God. Just, it'll be good. It'll be exciting.
So let's talk some more about your spacesuits then. You already think what you think about your new spacesuits for Artemis, and you weren't so impressed. I thought they were cool. Oh, not Artemis. Sorry, getting my missions mixed up. Oh, you've hit your mute button.
I unplugged my microphone by mistake. No, they look okay. I just don't think they look that exciting. They look like they've been designed by a Hollywood movie props maker, which they have. Spacesuits are meant. That's a spacesuit. That's what a spacesuit's meant to look like. I reckon. I just think they look too sort of clean and nice and not very exciting, I think. But that's just me. I'm just scrolling through the comments here. That's a good question, actually. Well, the new suits for Artemis, I can tell you, aren't new. They've been knocking around since the 1980s, and they're a sort of combination of hard suit and soft suit. But I forget the name, I forget the model, but they've basically kind of recycled an old suit from the 1980s. So I don't, I'm not quite sure. They look nice. Can I show you my favorite suit?
Yeah, please do. Yeah, and then we can talk about your Facebook profile picture, which is quite cool as well.
Hang on, I'm gonna try the share screen again.
Okay.
So keep saying. Tell me if you can see things.
Okay.
Can you? Because I don't know if you can. I don't know what you can see. Can you see pictures of a spacesuit now?
It's coming any moment. Yeah, we've got that now. The minion.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to find the cool spacesuit that I wanted to show you because I really like it, and it's it's this one. Look how cool that is. Can you see that?
Yes.
This is a Litton Industries spacesuit, all hard torso, and with a kind of stovepipe joints. I think that's really cool. That's the one I want in my house. And if you look really, really carefully, you can see. I like the fact that the stars and stripes has been hand painted. Can you see that?
Yes.
Beautifully hand painted that is. I think that's really nice. Anyway, there you go. That's the AX2. That's the spacesuit I'm going to have in my house when I'm famous.
What's the deal with your Facebook profile picture then? Because you're wearing something on that, aren't you?
I don't really do Facebook anymore, so I can't remember. Is it? Am I wearing a spacesuit? Yes, that one.
That's the one. What's that you've got on?
That's a real suit. That's Mike Foles's Sokol suit that he wore to the International Space Station, which I borrowed, and just quickly tried it on and took a selfie. That's what it is.
And what did it feel like to wear it?
But not very pleasant. They're not very breathable for the obvious reasons. So you get a bit hot and stinky. A friend of mine actually owns a bunch of real Russian spacesuits. The Sokol KV-2, that's the suit that everyone wears if you're flying on Soyuz, which is everyone unless you're flying with SpaceX. So Tim Peake had one, and Helen Sharman, and everyone. That sort of classic white and blue Russian suit, and it's got the kind of pullover helmet thing. So it's one of those. It's the kind of Russian workhorse spacesuit. Launch and re-entry, though. It's not an EVA suit. It's not the one you sort of go outside and do a space suit. It's just the one you wear on launch and re-entry. It's a big secret. People are guessing that it's to do with dark matter. What? Oh, I see. Oh, we're talking about
the Monday Sky at Night that neither of us knew about.
Yeah, I had no idea.
We're out of the loop.
I'm so out of the loop. I know the Sky at Night producer as well. I should be all over this.
Keaton,
yes. Well, not Keaton. I do know Keaton, but I'm thinking of Steve Crabtree, who's the Sky at Night editor.
Well, we're both in the dark. Maybe it's going to be about dark matter. Place your bets. What do you think it's going to be?
Oh, is there some big news that's going to be revealed?
Must be if they've moved Sky at Night and they're saying that there's a big revelation. How have we missed this?
Because I've been too busy faffing around talking about spacesuits.
on that note, Dallas, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am in an office with no heating and I need to go.
Stay warm. You look great. Your show's amazing.
Oh, I'll put that on my CV. It can go on my Wikipedia page.
Your
Thank you so
microphone's
much.
amazing and your lighting is de rigueur and superb.
Thank you so much, Dallas. It's been an absolute pleasure actually speaking to you in the flesh.
Have we never spoken in the flesh before?
No.
Okay.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it? And you've got better hair than me. So
I was going to do my spacesuit quiz, but another time. We'll do that.
do it. Go on. We might as well.
No. I don't. It'll take too long. It'll
Will
take
it?
too long. Well, you have to kind of go through and sort of who can guess which movie the spacesuit comes from.
Oh, do us just one then. Go on.
All right. Let me find a difficult one. Okay, well there you go. If anyone is watching, if you can, there you go. If you zoom in, I'll just try and hang on. Let me move this microphone out of the way. If anyone can sort of pick a spacesuit,
let's have that. The Buzz, I was going to say Buzz Lightyear, but that's quite obvious. That number 8.
Number 8. Oh, that was the one I showed you.
Is it? Okay.
That was a real one. Yeah, that was a real one that was tested. That's obviously an Apollo one. This one. Okay, what's this one? Name the movie. First person to name the movie wins a prize.
Is it the Mars one with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No.
Okay.
You're not allowed to guess. This is for your viewers. If you can name the movie that this spacesuit is in.
There we go.
Quite a famous movie.
Well, we'll say goodbye, and if they've not guessed by the end, then they'll just have to guess when we've gone off air. Oh, right. I can see Spock. Sarah Jane's there. Hi, Sarah Jane. Good to speak.
You can see. Oh, hi, Sarah Jane. I'm going to do on Sunday. Sarah and I are doing a proper space suits full hour-long lecture of me chat. Yes, Simon, exactly. 2001, correct. Well, you win the prize, which is my respect.
That's a worthy prize, Dallas. Good night. It was great to speak to you. Thank you very much.
Sunday, me and Sarah are doing a thing. Explorers Club spacesuits. Yes, thank you. Good night.
Good plug. See you later, everybody. Good night. Join the SPA as well. Bye. Okay.